Tony Martignetti, nonprofit radio coverage of 18NTC. It's the Nonprofit Technology Conference hosted by the Nonprofit Technology Network, and we are coming to you from New Orleans, the convention center there. This interview is sponsored by Network for Good, easy-to-use donor management and fundraising software for nonprofits. And my guest is Eli Hertz. He's the Vice President of Information Technology at United Service Organizations, USO. Eli Hertz, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony.
Pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Your subject is becoming a data-driven organization. Why should we?
To make better decisions, to do our mission better, more efficiently, and to be able to have more impact.
You're confident that this changing culture is going to bring about all these good outcomes?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Will there be challenges to get there? Yes, there will be challenges to get there. Is it a transition necessary? Absolutely. But I'm confident that if and when we navigate those challenges, the getting there enables better decisions, so we're able to do our mission more effectively, and that's really what it's all about.
Okay, and this does not just apply in the information technology department. This is organization-wide.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked that, Tony, because if it only applied to information technology department, IT, we would never get there. That's not how it's accomplished. The IT, my department, is about enabling the tools and technology that are the underpinnings, but really getting there and the effectiveness is only when the business units, the lines of business that are performing the mission, are asking the questions, that are doing the analysis. They have the context. They know the right questions to ask and the story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
It is absolutely not by IT. As a matter of fact, the tools, just one other piece, the tools are evolving to enable that. So that it doesn't take a technical person like it did in the past. The tools are being designed so that anyone can step up, use them, and ask the right questions to get the answers they need.
Okay. Are we able to talk about some of those tools later on?
Sure, if you'd like to, yeah.
You're conversing with them? Okay.
Yeah.
You know them? Okay, good. Where do we, I'm guessing if this is going to be a cultural change, the change has got to come from the top.
So ideally, the way we're approaching it, Tony, is both a top-down and bottoms-up approach, both simultaneously, kind of coming at it from two angles. And we think both are necessary. Neither one by itself would get us all the way there. We are fortunate to have a CEO who's very technically driven, that understands and has the vision of what it can and should do for the organization to be able to make data-driven decisions. However, just mandating it isn't going to get us all the way there.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are going to make it work are the ones that are going to be working the tools are more bottoms up, because they're there day to day. They have the context. They have the context for the fundraising or the marketing or the program delivery of our constituents, and they have a better sense of the business processes and what all the data means, so they can ask those questions. If they don't buy in and have the right inquisitive mindset, we won't get the answers that we want and need.
They want to know more about what they're doing and what the outcomes are.
Yep.
And what's successful, what's not. Now, of course, you're coming at it from the USO perspective, but our listeners are over 12,000 people in small and mid-sized nonprofits.
Sure.
So but the lessons apply equally, right?
Nowhere in what I've said so far did I talk about the mission of USO. Every single nonprofit has a mission to deliver some service or product, mostly a service, for the benefit of their benefactors. So really, it's about understanding what their mission is. And they can all equally gain from increasing their impact. It's about increasing the impact based on the insights that you have on the data that you've collected or can aggregate. Nowhere in what I just said did I talk about the USO mission. Every single nonprofit can benefit from it.
Okay. I just want to make that explicit. I
Absolutely.
know it's true, otherwise you wouldn't be here, but I want to make it explicit for our listeners.
Absolutely.
All right, so a lot of this is about empowerment also. Right, so we're empowering staff to be asking the challenging questions that data can provide answers to.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Are we empowering?
Well, empowering is part of it. Yes. That's necessary, but not sufficient.
Okay.
So we have to start. It has to have empowerment. They also have to have access. So access to the right data stores, and this means breaking down stovepipes or silos, breaking down paradigms of no, this is my thing, and then also learning the skill set and the mindset, So the skill set to manipulate tools, which again are being designed to be more user friendly.
You're using some of this technology yourself,
and then the mindset is critical as well. Tony, is having that inquisitive mindset to what's really happening here in my fundraising, in my marketing campaign, in the program delivery. What's the activity that's happening? Who are the players that are impacting it? And what can I or do I want to learn to make it better? So it's that inquisitive mindset. This is not, we won't get there by what some folks are more accustomed to is generate some report that says what happened. That's just reporting. That's just saying, something that you can construct and say, point to, this is a thing that happened. This is about inquiring mindset and interacting with it. So.
If I'm listening to this and I'm motivated by what you're saying, but I don't yet have the top down or the bottom up, or I guess I'm in the bottom, or maybe not. I might be in the middle somewhere.
Sure.
Or I might be at the top. We have CEOs who listen also. Yeah. How do I get the other end, or if I'm in neither end, how do I get both ends to buy into this?
Yeah, great question. Well, first we think is start small and show a little benefit, and you can do it. Relatively easily, relatively affordably, and for every nonprofit, every dollar we don't spend is a dollar that goes to our mission. And some of the tools are very affordable, and show the way. Do a little pilot. We did a proof of concept at USO first to say, hey, for very few dollars, this is the kind of insights we can generate, and here's how you interact with it. What do you think? And it was, wow, this is really giving.
Tell the story of your test, because I think the example will help.
Okay, sure.
Listeners understand. How do you bite off a little bit of this? Like a little bit of what? Where do we start?
Yeah, absolutely. So we took data from two of our important two of our sources that support some of our most impactful business processes. One is financial, so that shows a roll up of our fundraising, how we're doing on revenue, fundraising. And the other is a relatively new data set that we just deployed a system last year for part of our digital transformation, which was collecting usage metrics of our customers. They check into our centers, and we made a digital platform that collects the check-in and some of their demographics, no PII obviously, and we have now about 6 months of here's how they and when and how they interact with us and what they think of us and what they like. And these are two data sources. One was just talk a little bit about the tools, but one was in a Great Plains data set, which many organizations use, which we exported from a report into a CSV export, relatively simple stuff. And the other was in a Salesforce backend data set. And what we did is we used a pretty affordable tool for nonprofits, Microsoft Power BI. It's okay to talk about products.
Yes, it is. Certainly. Yeah, I want you to. Yeah.
Okay, super. Yeah, which is very affordable for a nonprofit.
Microsoft Power BI.
Microsoft Power BI Business Insights or Business Intelligence. Sorry.
Okay.
It's in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for the last 2 years as one of the top in the BI space. Nonprofit cost is very affordable. There's a free version as well, and you can experiment with the free version.
Oh, excellent.
So what we did is we got a little bit of help because this does require some different mindset, than folks that have been doing one thing for a long time. So we got a partner for a little bit of help to say, okay, help us do some analysis and build some visualizations and a dashboard that shows what's happening in these areas, both from financial progress and also for our customer usage. We did it in a month or two, just a few dollars, not much product dollars, and we built visualizations and showed it, say, here's how we're being used right now. And it was very, very well received. The insights were kind of aha moments. So what I recommend is start, with some existing data stores, and sort of identify first what it is you think will be impactful, and then showcase it. Take it around, say, hey, this is some insights. What do you think? And if it doesn't get enthusiasm, either learn a lesson from it to say what's more interesting, or park it and move on to something else.
Okay, very
but
good.
Test for value early.
Yeah, all right, and in a small bit.
Small bits.
Small piece. Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so then what's our next step in this? Trying to change this culture. So let's say we get some approval.
Yeah.
Okay, this is pretty stark, and I can see some value. Otherwise, the interview is over. So we better move this forward.
Yeah.
We're not taking the park and move on to something else option. Park it and move on.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here now? With our test results.
So where we're going is an operational pilot, and we're calling it an operational pilot because we're adding a little more funding and setting the goals a little bit higher, but we're also not in the same breath not institutionalizing it yet. So we're going to expand the number of data stores that we bring in. And then here's the other key, Tony, is what we're also going to do, since the product and Microsoft Power BI, again, is the one we're using, is designed so for someone that's in the line of business, the development department, the marketing department, the program delivery, not the IT geeky tech person. It's not designed for that person. It's designed so that the former that I mentioned can learn how to use it. So we're rolling out training at the same time. We're going to take them through, here's how to use the tool and here's the art of the possible, and let them loose on the data, and also let them see, some of the additional products, the visualizations, and more importantly, the insight that comes out. And we'll let that run for a while. Say, show us how it's changed your ability to perform your mission.
Okay, Eli, and where are you in this process?
So we finished the proof of concept, and we late January or February, and we looked at it for a little bit, and we're actually just going to start up our operational pilot, which will be a 6-week effort with some assistance. We're going to start that up in several weeks, and so by this summer for April the 30th. So we're a couple weeks away from taking the next step. We'll spend about 6 weeks building it up, and then we'll look at it for a bit.
How do you figure out what the data is that is most important for the organization?
Well, we're starting with the KPIs that are most impactful and most important for insight, and that's quite frankly a lift and shift of current reporting to more digitized, and that's sort of a stepping stone, because these are the KPIs that leadership needs to understand where we're going and where we are. But again, that's a stepping stone. So it's also going to relieve some pain, because quite frankly, the other way of doing the reporting takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, which is time and resources to be better well spent by those down the chain of command that have to do all that reporting. Yes, every organization has that. But instead of, we're going to automate that, enhance it, and let me touch another key point, because what we can do that can't be done as effectively is connect the dots across data silos for combined visualizations that tell a more comprehensive story.
Yeah, the whole organization, right.
Yeah.
Especially the C-level is interested in that.
C-level, and we think but not just the C-level. Again, that's a stepping stone, because what comes next and the real golden ring is, and we will have accomplished a lot by that intermediate step, which is much more efficient and comprehensive reporting and visualization. But the real golden ring and the next step is doing predictive analytics and being able to ask questions of the data by interacting with it. Yeah. So there's the KPI reporting. This is the important stuff we need to know for how the business is going. That's, again, the next step. And once it's all in place and folks get comfortable with it, say, wow, I can really ask some questions. You know what? I haven't thought about fill in the blank. How our current trend is from a predictive analytics perspective, how our fundraising is happening over time, or what is the impact if we change these variables. You can do all of that once you're in the platform and comfortable with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk some about the challenges of doing this. You brought them up earlier. I want to come back to it.
Sure.
What should we expect, Eli?
Yeah, well, there can be some, and actually I just came from a good session where we had this same discussion and with a group full of nonprofits, and it was a really wonderful conversation. It became a conversation of the same topic, and one of the challenges is that one of the nonprofits brought up is, hey, what if you're shining the light on something that is kind of a hard story that projects bad news where it may not have been visualized.
Yeah. When we start asking questions, we may not always like the answers.
Might not like the answer. And what we would suggest is that we shift the focus away from the who, which can be a tendency if you see something.
Like who's responsible?
Who's responsible? Who hasn't been doing their job, or who's been falling short, and shift it more towards the what and what's the impact on the mission. Then everybody circles around, the conversation about how do we improve the mission based on what we learned, not who's not been doing their job effectively.
Yeah.
So it's changing the conversation based on the insights.
Okay.
So that's one is the kind of the fear. The other is change management. I've been doing it this way for a long time, and this is what I was hired to do. So, like many classic change management problems or opportunities, it's about education. It can be circumvented with education, and finding a few folks that are showing successes with them by doing it a different way with a different tool, shining the light on them and say, hey, this is an early adopter. Look what they were able to do. You could do something similar in your position. We'll help you do that.
You mean drawing on the early testing that you did?
Early continuing successes. It's a continual process. So Let me give you a specific example. We did the proof of concept. We showed the platform, the possible. Everybody nodded their head. C-level suite liked it. Others looked at it, said, "Oh, but can I do this to answer a question I need to do?" And we identified one of those. This I really need to tell this, to understand this and tell this story better. And I'm sure when I tell a story, it's obviously not about creating fiction, but it's about painting the picture of what's going on. And so we identified that person who was not technologically savvy, didn't need to be. We didn't create it so he needed to be. That's the point. And we're helping him build something so that he can answer that question and expose that so we can make better decisions. So we built on that success. This is before we built out the operational pilot. Is we found somebody else who came to us because they heard about the success of the operational pilot, of the proof of concept, said, hey, I need another answer here. So, we incrementally show successes.
So leverage some of these early adopters and their successes in trying to bring some skeptics along.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the real, and so the following we haven't accomplished yet, Tony. I'll just say that for what I'm about to say. But as a study of change management, and you've probably heard many of the folks you interviewed talk about it from, and one of the best disciplines I've been through is ProSci Change Management Certification. Encourage it for any nonprofit listener. It's the best 3 days I've ever spent.
Tell me again what it is.
ProSci, PROSCI, Change Management. It's a 3-day certification class, and it covers the breadth of technology. Is one piece of it. It's really about change management.
Okay.
But to get to the next level, so some of the things I've talked about are some of the sort of the classic change management techniques. What's really a strong accelerator is to find a skeptic, a loud skeptic, and someone who's So
I'm laughing. Yeah. If you're not watching the video, maybe I can't tell I'm laughing. All right. So
you probably flashed on somebody there.
Well, I work for myself. But I have in the past, everybody's got clients or whatever.
Sure.
But somebody who's a loud skeptic. We'll leave it at that. All right, that's
Yep. So every organization
that's sufficient.
Yeah, and who's sort of maybe established, I'll say.
Yes, so they have some credibility in the organization.
Yep, and they're also established with the way they were used to doing things.
Yes, right.
If you make that person an advocate, they will amplify the successes to the same degree that they amplified their skepticism. Now that's the brass. It's
doable. That brass ring.
Yeah.
Go back to your merry-go-round.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a huge accelerator and amplifier, so it can be done. But instead of avoiding that skeptic, use some empathic techniques, understand why they're skeptical.
Trying to embrace them.
Try to embrace them, understand what they need, and then help them. And if they flip, and you got maybe a 50-50 chance, I'll be real here. But right. If and when they flip, and then the rest of the organization, by the way, everybody, when I said that, they know who their organization skeptic is, right? Everybody knows. So when the organization sees a skeptic that's a believer, Katie, bar the doors. Everybody's in.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And have we exhausted the challenges?
Well, one other, is just learning a new approach. It's a different mindset. So,
that's much more the emotional side or the psychological side of change management.
Well, those are the pieces I just addressed, but there's also some functional skills.
The skills, yes.
Yes.
You get the skill set and the mindset.
Skill set,
right.
Mindset. So, I spoke.
So willingness to take on new skills.
Yep. And the ability. So it's a different way of operating. And it's about the science behind data science is about exploring and experimenting and asking questions and telling a story. So again, a lot of us, in many parts of the organization say, hey, build me a report that shows a thing.
Yeah.
Fundraising, how much, how many impressions were on the website or whatever, how many times our program was used, report, it's more of a diagnostic or reporting. This is what happened. And they say, here's what's happening. But what this can and get to with a different skill set is ask some questions and interact with it to connect the dots, to tell the story of what's really going on versus saying what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eli, I want to talk about some of the tools that we might be able to use because we just have a couple minutes left.
Okay.
Tools that can help with this process.
Yeah. Yeah, so the one we use and we're having very good success with it is Microsoft Power BI.
Right, you mentioned
Business
Power BI.
Intelligence.
Yep.
And that's the primary one. Now, the other is, and the benefit of it as the tool is it can integrate and interact with the data wherever it is. So you don't have to create something new, leave it in place and integrate it. There are a few, competitors in the space. That's the one we're getting most success. We've put a lot of our operational data in a Salesforce backend, which we built up for several reasons in integrating it in. Okay. And again, others and data in place. So those are some of the primary ones.
Does Salesforce have an add-on for this kind of data introspection?
They do. They call it Einstein Analytics.
Einstein.
Yep. Okay. And Salesforce just recently, we're recording this in April of 2018. They just recently made a purchase of another integration product called MuleSoft. So they're going to integrate that product so that in their analytics engine, they can pull in other data sources, which is really important for analytics because a lot of systems have been built up as here's my tool or data set based on what's happening in this piece of the process. And really to tell the comprehensive picture is about connecting the dots, so you want to be able to pull in from several sources. So Salesforce has that capability in Einstein Analytics with MuleSoft added to it.
Okay. We have just about a minute or so left, Eli.
Okay.
I want to ask you, what is it, the Vice President of Information Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it you love about the work you do?
Oh, great question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, people don't think about IT as a lovable office to work in, let alone lead.
Yeah, the little Maytag repairman. The success if nobody's angry.
Right. What do you love?
Yeah, what I really love about it is we're rolling out capabilities that are making everybody's every employee's job better, more effective.
Cut across the whole organization.
Across the organization, and we feel that we can make them more efficient by either the systems or the insights they get. That gives lifts to the entire organization. And we're also changing the way we're interact with our constituents, our service members. We rolled out a mobile app recently. Go to the Apple or Google Play and download the USO app. And it's really gratifying to know that we can engage with our customers in a way, reach them where they are. But really it all rolls back to we can make the mission more effective, and if we can save $1 while we're doing it, then as a nonprofit, we are serving our service members, our constituents, more effectively, and that's gratifying.
Yeah. Are you a vet?
I am, yeah.
I am too. What,
Oh,
what service
good for
were
you.
you?
Thank you for your
no,
service.
Thank you. You thanked me first. What service were you in?
I was in the Navy. How about you, Tony?
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay, so we should have a little rivalry going on here.
We should. No, it's very friendly though.
Yeah, of course.
Eli Hertz. He's the Vice President of Information Technology for United Service Organizations, USO. This interview is sponsored by Network for Good, easy-to-use donor management and fundraising software for nonprofits. Eli, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony.
Real pleasure. Thanks.
Yep, thanks.
And this is Tony Martignetti, Nonprofit Radio coverage of 18 NTC. Thank you so much for being with us.